This has been there, Rock That,
Yep.
episode 18. Wow, it's been a long time.
18.
We have
boy.
Prance, Stelos here.
Yo.
Robbie's on assignment somewhere.
Yes, always.
In
And we
these
have
streets.
a super special guest. Goes by the name of. Go ahead.
Oh, I have to say it?
Introduce
Okay.
yourself.
Yes.
um, it's Wanda, but everyone calls me, well, not everyone. Now it's Wandie, but like
Yeah.
my friends just used to call me Wandie, but so
Now
it's
the
it's me,
world.
Wandie. So
And
now
she has a
No doubt.
podcast too.
I do.
Yes, you
it's
do.
called It's Me, Wandie.
There you go.
Ha
You
ha.
gotta stick with Wandie.
So
man.
be
Wandie.
Clap it
sure.
up.
be
I had
sure-
to change it from, it was 9th Street Podcast because I grew up in Brooklyn on 9th Street in Park Slope. So I was like, yeah, I was trying to represent the, but then like all the boys in the building from 9th Street, they have their thing. They'll be like, 9 block, 9 block. And they're annoying. So I love them. Don't get me wrong. I grew up with them. I love them. But I'm always just like,
That's set.
And then plus it was like, I feel like everything should be It's Me, Wandie.
And I think, yeah,
Because
that's a
people
good
will
name.
be like, hey, it's me, Wandie. I'm like, you could just call, it's Wanda. You could just,
It's me.
but I like the energy,
I
so
like
I
the
made
Wandie.
everything cohesive. Yes, that's the podcast.
That's-
Congrats on the podcast.
Thank
real.
you, thank
Looking
you for
forward to
having
it.
me, guys.
Definitely.
You know,
Family.
we try over here. We try over here to have some good content.
Of course.
Anyway, Prance, how was your week?
Yes.
Busy.
This is a loaded
my
question
week-
again. You always be having these loaded questions.
Yeah, it's seeming that way, but it's seeming like it's set up that way, but
This
it's
guy.
not really.
This
It's just how it's designed at this time. Tell you the truth, I'm trying to rebrand myself
I'm about to
Right.
say,
from
brand
Prance
what?
to the dancer, Prance Low to now
Just
Prance, the podcast guy.
Okay.
You
The
know,
media guy. Now
So,
you're gonna be
it's
Prince,
going
the
good,
media
but
guy?
but for some reason, like
Getting your Joe
Pookie,
Budden on, like, I don't rap
dancing keeps
anymore.
on calling me and calling me.
Yeah, that,
So,
that
with that
podcast,
being said,
You gotta resort
they had the African festival, which was in Commander Barry's Park,
Mhm.
Yep.
which is behind Fort Greene
Greens.
Projects.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
they had the
remember that.
African festival, and I taught for like a good hour,
Wow.
like
Mhm.
dancing fundamentals to kids, probably like 4 to
You ever think about
maybe
like a
10.
school?
not at this time. Tell you the truth, because really, I'm really trying to focus on this podcast thing, and
Yeah,
I
I
feel
feel you.
like the people I know, I think the people that know me need to know them a little more better, because we've had so much time together
Mhm.
that it's a family thing more than so. If I know somebody from Church Ave, but I know somebody from Japan, I want them to meet because they both on the same vibe. They just
Mhm.
don't know each other. So I would invite them to come on Church Ave and have a jerk chicken or a roti
Mhm.
Get that
and
slap.
sit
Oh,
down with the
God.
family.
Oh,
And
God.
I only said that because Wandie, Trini, and that's it. Gotta
I'm an
do it for the
honorary
red,
Trini.
black, and white. Well, anyway.
Flatbush.
Other than that, yeah. So I taught for the kids, which was great at the Wakanda playground
Oh,
for the
boy.
kids that they
Rename
set up.
it.
It was special hand painting and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And that was very hot.
That's dope.
That day was hot. But
Lit.
it was a great turnout because it was the last day of
Yeah.
the festival.
Okay.
And it was July 4th. So, everybody wanted to get their time in or
That
whatever.
last
So
experience.
other than that, let's
Mhm.
fast forward into yesterday, which was
The video music box.
Video Music Box
Well,
35th
Prance, speaking of
anniversary. Salute to Ralph McDaniels
Yes,
for
sir, the
yo.
OG.
That was
It was
just
fun. I had a good
it was
time.
the Yo MTV Raps Part 2. Maybe just an outside
Yeah.
event of the Yo MTV Raps.
Exactly.
Because Fat Joe, my bro, Sadat X, Brand Nubians with Lord Jamal came
Mhm.
through, tore it down. A couple of heads, KRS was out there.
Yeah, that was.
You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
definitely monumental. But I went out there with special ed again and did what I had to
That's
do
mad funny.
again, as I
Prance
should
used
for
to
Flatbush
dance With
and my
sister.
dude. And I hope y'all checked out that Unsung. And I hope y'all tried to get a little footage off that Yo MTV Raps. I know I'm bigging myself up, but I got to because I got to big up this podcast. Been there, rock that.
You already
Conversation
know.
with
They
Style.
showed
Yo,
you a
Stilo.
lot in the
What's good,
segment.
bro? What's
Don't-
good? What's
and
good?
don't
What's
forget,
good?
you
What's
made
good?
the news too.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So
what I was
sorry.
gonna say.
Talk your shit,
Yeah,
nigga.
Spectrum
You were in the
News
news a
One
lot. They
captured
showed you
me,
dancing like
Prance
they had a
Low,
big
doing my
segment.
I
thing.
gotta remind
They
you.
caught me on that
Yeah.
WAP. You know what I mean?
You already.
Around that, I got it made. So I had to bring it back to that era. So during I got it made routine, I usually do the Bismarck, the Smurf, the Feli, stuff like that. A lot of people from that era could
My sister used to dance
Represent.
with my sister back in
Yes.
the day.
yes,
My
big up little
sister used
little
to
bit.
dance and she used to work with Salt and Pepper and Kid Play. They're the
Yes.
same
With
manager at the
Herbie.
time.
Herbie Love
Herbie
Bug.
Love
So hi-hat, who went on to choreograph
Yeah,
for Mary J.
Nadine.
Blige.
Okay.
Nadine. She
Yeah.
went on to choreograph for Rihanna, whoever. They used to dance in the same.
Big up
they're in the
Flatbush
same
again, because she
videos,
lived on North
so-
Street and Linden. Big up
Yeah.
Flatbush, yeah.
So
Yeah.
basically, that's how my 5-year-old self fell in love with hip hop. So sometimes when
go.
people are like,
That's
how do you know this? I'm
True
like,
indeed.
I've
Small
known
world.
this since I was a child.
Woo.
Born in this.
Wait till you hear what we got today.
So
Woo.
Prance and my sister go way
Yes,
back.
yes, yes.
With
Big up
Diddy.
little bit, Tony.
Yeah,
Yes,
with
and
Diddy.
Swatch, because they was a
Exactly.
3-girl group.
Yeah.
It was hi hat, little bit, and Swatch. Big up.
I don't know if I remember
You see?
her.
Somebody, the guest is
Somebody
laughing
remember.
because I'm bringing them
But
back,
I
but
remember them
we gonna
five
get into
when
that.
They did Apollo. They said,
Mhm.
back before when dance crews weren't a thing. It was just like that was, the first wave of hip hop dancing.
True indeed, true indeed. Yo, Stilo,
You already.
what's good, boy?
I good there, boy.
All right.
I listen to all that bacchanal thing you
Oh,
don't
look at
deal
this
with, boy.
shit. These
That's
motherfuckers.
that's a Haitian with a
Oh
with
my
a
God.
Trinidadian fucking twang.
Oh, my
I trying. But
Yeesh.
nonetheless, happy to be here. I'm sorry I missed last week.
Mhm.
My brothers over here been there, rock that, did they thing. Yeah, as usual. That's how we do. On my end, last week went out to our boy Joel, aka Solace, to represent his
Yes, sir.
album release.
Timeless truth. Yes.
Yeah.
Man, my dude is official whistle out here, fam. Album sounds great. He's definitely got a good name, good buzz out here in these streets. Me and Robbie Fingers, salute Robbie Fingers. You ain't in the building, but
That's
you
dope.
here nonetheless. And it was at showcase at Alumni.
They just opened up
Sneaker
their
shop.
flagship
Yeah.
store in Queens.
Exactly.
They have two. They have one on
Utica.
Utica and Union
Right.
Street, and one on Ocean and
Now-
Church Ave.
And now they moved one over into Queens because they got to touch base in every part of New York.
True
it seemed
indeed.
like right on Northern Boulevard. I don't really have the exact address, but Google is your friend. You'll find it on there.
And
Pretty
trust and
much.
believe,
So-
they always got exclusive sneakers,
Bruh.
and the thing about them, when it don't get exclusive no more, they'll put the
Yeah,
half
yeah.
price
Yeah.
tag on that, so you could get them. It ain't as fresh as the freshest,
Mhm.
but at least you be out in these streets looking like somebody.
Exactly.
You dig?
And
So
also, they-
definitely salute the
Oh, if you
alumni.
need
Go
anything,
ahead.
holler at me too. I
Oh, my
still
bad.
resell. I still resell.
Hey.
look at promotion,
Hey.
promotion. But other than that, it was a piece. It was real peace. Shout out to Dallas.
Ow.
He was emceeing the event. And
The boot guard.
Shout out to Dallas, yo.
Yeah, you
Always,
already.
always.
Family had jokes. I got jokes on it. This dude was in there with like a silk jacket and like 90-degree weather.
What?
I was
Wow.
like, but we'll talk
You're
about that.
wildin'.
That's
Don't
it.
crack on me. Don't crack on
Like,
me,
wow.
Dallas. But you was hot up there. And I don't mean that literal.
Big up Dallas
Right.
Penn. Big up Dallas Penn with the
But-
Talker Texture
Yes, sir.
podcast
Thank you.
also.
Big-
Definitely check
exactly.
that out.
But the fam did his thing. But the whole event was great. I guess what we were doing, been there, rock that, as we do. We try to touch every event, try to share with the world what we see, what we do, and how we do it.
True indeed.
With that being said, John motherfucking Green.
Yes,
What
sir.
Oh boy.
Should I start or should I just leave you alone?
You can start. You know
Yeah,
what
them
I'm saying?
damn Brazilians.
Yeah. Kind of sad over here.
Aw.
Muito triste.
I'll just leave it at that. I think I said
We
it.
lost. We lost bad.
Well, yeah, we lost to Belgium 2-1
Yeah.
out of the World Cup.
They was outplaying us though. I'm not even gonna lie. Like,
Yeah, because they don't know when to push the quarter.
Well,
Like,
no, we had. Listen, we flubbed. Brazil flubbed too many shots. It was like, how many times are you gonna almost go in? It was like you flubbed that. Like, I don't know. I love the Brazilians. I'm still gonna root for the. I love them.
yeah, well,
The problem is that they don't have Ronaldinho. That's really the problem. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
no.
like you have Neymar and not Ronaldinho.
listen, we-
And let me tell you something. I don't know how he's not considered the GOAT. Ronaldinho is that nigga. Like,
yes, he is. I think we had a talk about it last week. I saw.
how is he not like in talks of being the GOAT? Like, I've seen him do things that is like
but you gotta do
amazing.
5 World Cups.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Pele.
No,
Maradona.
sorry. I don't
He
want to
hasn't
hear
done
that. I don't want to hear that. I hear that,
You
but I
gotta
don't want to
win
hear
5
that
World
because
Cups
That's
to
no,
get in
you
the
don't.
that's
conversation.
LeBron and Jordan.
let me tell you something. If Ronaldinho could smoke one-on-one all your favorites, I don't want to hear that. That's the
Right.
GOAT. I've seen him in the game smoke all your favorites with footwork and just like do some weird shit and it goes in. I'm like, how the fuck did he just samba the shit in the goal? Like, yo, he smoked all your favorites. I've seen him embarrass niggas. Like,
Man,
you thought
you mad?
Ronaldo?
You mad right now?
I am. Because we ain't have Ronaldinho. We had to clone him, and we didn't clone him at the proper time. And now we are out of the World Cup.
It's all good.
See?
Next
You
4
see?
years.
So,
We're not using science correctly.
listen,
I'm appalled.
I'm just listen. Sad times over here, but you know.
Oh, got John
All right, let me
stumped.
stop.
Wow.
He stuttered.
Wow.
Listen, we played okay, but you know the fact of the matter is we didn't play consistent, and Belgium had a good team. So, you know, you go up, you're down 2-0, and then you think you're gonna come back. You know, they're a good team, so
Nah,
you know.
defensively, they really held Brazil back. I mean, even with
and
the attacks.
you know, Neymar was on his theatric shit.
Oh.
Listen,
You know,
It's a movie.
I was
know.
just like, get up. Just get up.
He was on his best actor award shit. He was on his, you know.
the best
He was being
convulsions I've seen
annoying.
on
I was
on
just
TV
like-
screen.
He was extra.
Listen,
There was one point where Marcelo was like, if you don't.
Listen, maybe this is a good thing. Maybe they come back in 4 years and they're more mature,
Fingers crossed.
and we win it all. But it didn't happen. So
Yeah.
you know, but this didn't hurt as worse as when Germany beat us 7-1.
Oh my God.
So this one
yeah.
was like, this one was a
This
little
one
bit,
was a bit
It was,
bittersweet.
it was a little
I
bit
could take-
better.
it
It
was
was a
like,
little bit better.
I could take this loss, but that Germany one was just like, anyway.
Nah, but when the Italians were cheating that other time, I was really mad. The World Cup before that,
Yeah,
where they
yeah,
were
yeah.
just like elbowing us dead in the face and nothing was getting called.
At
Like
least you didn't have
that
to
was
act.
like,
Yeah.
I was just like, well, all right.
So
And then they went on to win. I was really mad. But anyway,
yeah, so I'm not talking more about the World
Yeah,
Cup.
you
I'm
went-
done
all right,
with
we're done.
You
We're
know,
done.
you
World
know,
Cup stuff. We're
digress.
done.
Yeah.
Digress.
I'm
Sure
not talking
indeed.
more about it. But anyway, yeah, you know, for the week I just, I be in the streets, so
Yeah.
I'm just-
Always.
I was out there with him with the video music box thing, and I must think.
Didn't see both of y'all again.
Yeah,
two
well,
people.
because you was incognito.
I was not. I was out there.
You didn't want to be seen,
As
and
you
you
always
tell me
are.
about that all the time.
Okay, you're
We
right.
have
You're
that
right. You're
conversation.
right. Are you
That
right?
is
You're
true.
right. I
So-
don't.
I know.
Okay.
I know what you was doing. Anyway,
Exactly. See, you know.
but shout out to my little nephew, Prance's
Yes.
son.
Okay, shout out.
He
Little
got on
Mac.
stage and he did his thing, brought a tear to my eye. He was
Sure.
dancing with his father.
True.
That was a momentous.
Yo,
I wonder if I have
monumental
that on
moment.
video.
Yo.
I guess that's subliminally
It's
passing the
All
torch,
It's all
maybe.
over the Instagram.
Yo, I got it on
He
video.
took the
Yeah.
torch, son.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, basically.
Check out my IGTV. It is on there.
Yes.
It is.
And I'm just saying, just for the young man to even attempt to do it, that was a lot of courage because he's 5 years old.
Aw.
And he's on stage and there's hundreds of people just looking at him. He's just like, yo, I'm going to do this. Fuck that.
No doubt.
You have
you
less
know?
inhibitions when you're a kid, though. So he's
Yeah,
probably
but
just like,
nah,
all right,
but-
it's
Yeah, true.
lit.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? But kids these days don't have that drive or that initiative.
Yeah, that's
instantly
true.
To do
intimidated.
anything. They'd rather go play a video game or something like that. So for
Yeah.
him to do that at 5, I mean, yo, he's way ahead of the game.
It's in his bloodline.
He's way ahead of the game.
But you know what? You have to put them in stuff when they're young because they're just like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
They don't know
That's
better.
the
You know, they're
time
just like,
that's the
okay,
time to
great.
get it out of them. Yeah.
You're
when
like,
they're
hey,
young.
we're going to play soccer. You're on a team now. And they're like, all right, go. You like, kick that ball. They're like,
Mhm.
all right. Eventually, they start learning or whatever.
Mhm.
But like at first, they're just like, I'm just happy to be here.
Right.
Whatever.
True indeed.
You know?
And also, happy birthday, Combat Jack is coming.
Oh
right?
yeah,
Oh,
happy
yes.
birthday,
R.I.P.
Combat, and rest in
Salute
peace,
and rest in
Combat.
peace, brother.
Yo, oh man,
Definitely.
the last time I was here, I was actually on Combat Jack's show, with A King. He had me on, so shout out to A King
Shit,
and shout out to
definitely.
Combat
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah. So other than that, I had a nice week. Other than that.
Same.
Nice. That was
Same.
smooth.
So-
Smoothly said.
So let's get to our guest.
Please.
He
It's
is
gonna be
a
exciting, people.
composer. He's a designer.
Oh,
Just
All
does,
that,
does
all
it
that,
all.
all
You know
that.
what I'm saying? He's a dancer,
all
legendary.
World renowned.
Yes.
Mr. BuddhaStretch is here.
You're ready.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
What's up,
Yes.
yo? What's good?
Yes.
Good stretch.
So man, how you doing? Welcome to our asylum.
Thanks for having me.
You know.
Nutcase with the nutcases. Let's
That's
do
That's
it.
it,
man.
baby.
So what you got going on, man?
Oh man. I'm happy to be home.
Right.
Doing, same thing I've been doing the last 30 years,
Mhm.
teaching the world how to dance. We have our own summer dance intensive called the 36 Chambers of Styles.
That's dope.
True indeed.
Mm-hmm.
With the crew, Dance Fusion, New York City Elite Force, and
Yes.
the Misfits.
Yes,
and
sir.
Representing
Black dogs.
again this thing we call hip hop dance that we introduced to the world and made popular,
Mhm.
and still doing it. I like to think, the spirit told me to, stay with who you came with to the dance.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, that's well said, bro.
No,
True indeed.
no new friends, right?
Yeah,
Shit.
new friends, but
Hey,
I
I'm with
came to
that.
the prom with this one.
Yeah.
So
I'm leaving out with this one.
And your
I'ma
coordination
I'ma
is
stay
the
with this
same.
one.
So
Yeah.
keep it going.
So the dance got me here.
Hmm.
Dance got me all over the world. Got me my children, my music, my love. I'm
she's
forever
smiling
thankful.
over there.
oh,
Forever thankful.
No, so you're constantly busy doing something, like you're all over doing, like even you do, because I saw like the little videos you do,
Mm.
teaching the dance moves and stuff. I was like, Prince, what are you showing me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were just breaking it down. I was like,
Yeah, man. It's hilarious to me because this is stuff that I used to do on Ocean Avenue in Woodruff
Hmm.
and Flatbush.
Shout out
My
Flatbush.
pops- my pops
I told you.
kicked me out the crib.
Yes,
I
sir.
had a room full of kids in the house
Hmm.
dancing, and he kicked me out the house and said, "Go to the park."
Mhm.
And that's a story he told me afterwards, but he followed us to the park. And that's the first time he actually saw that I was, teaching these kids. I had their, their interest, and he was like, this might be something.
Mm-hmm.
It was always in you with the teaching thing.
Yeah, but for me, it wasn't, I didn't look at it as teaching. I was just like, yo, let's do
having
this.
fun.
And
Yeah.
everybody was like, all right, let's do that. And then just took that from the park to the club,
It's
and
more an
now
organic
from the club
kind of teaching.
to the studio.
That's what's up. So with that, with your time, who were the groups or the teams back then that you guys used to
The funniest
battle?
thing, let's start here, because we mentioned Lil Bit is your sister.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's what they called her.
Yes.
I thought,
Yes.
I mean, to me,
Okay,
she's
Tony.
and you
Very-
mentioned Nadine.
Yes.
Yeah.
who's
Hi-hat.
They used to
Flatbush
always be at my
hi-hat,
aunt's house. Like they were in and out
and
the house all the
Swatch.
time.
Swatch.
Okay, let's start there.
Hey, there we go.
Me-
I
Misha.
introduced them.
Mm.
Wow.
Swatch used to go to Madison High School.
Yes.
I met her at her school. We used to date.
Okay.
Nadine was a student of my student, my man Perry, 21st and Church Avenue.
Why
His
does
name
that
was
sound
Stretch
familiar?
also.
Wow.
He was called Stretch 2, because I was the original.
Of course.
And when I met Hi-Hat, she was, trying to blast me like, you not Stretch, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I just laughed at her like, okay. So you know who Stretch is? Okay, so we went to Perry's house. And she was like, yo, this dude called himself Stretch, blah, 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 blah. Perry was like, that's my teacher.
Mm.
I'm Stretch 2. And she was
Mm.
stunned.
That's
You
so
know,
funny.
and then
so the story
All three
goes.
of them got together when I met Swatch, took her with me to do Eric B. and Rakim's very first video for Eric B. for President, which was never released.
Mm-hmm.
But the day we shot that is when I met her. My high school, South Shore High School, played her high school in
Salute.
football. And we met at the game, and I told her, I'm going to do a music video. And she was like, oh, okay, you dance? I was like, yeah. Want to come? She came with me to the video. That's when she got into the dance. Right after that, we went to Union Square. That's how she met Nadine. And then my man who I went to high school with and grew up, Flatbush again,
Mm-hmm.
Church Avenue, my man Trini.
Yes,
Giuliano.
sir.
There you
Yes,
go.
sir. Giuliani.
Giuliano is who brought
That's-
your sister.
Well, he's
into,
family.
Yes.
Juliano's family.
Well, that's why I'm telling you.
No
that.
doubt.
We went to high school together. We grew up together in Flatbush.
And hence, now I didn't mean to cut your wisdom off, General, but hence her name was Swatch,
Yep.
Misha, because of back then Swatch watches.
Yep.
So she used to have them up her
All the way up
arm
her
to
arm.
her elbow. Swatch watches, even her ankles
Yep.
was Swatch watches. Remember when everybody used to
Swatch
wear
was the style,
the,
though.
the sloppy socks and all that with
Swatch,
the
flick
5411s?
flag, remember flick
She
flag?
used to be
Yep.
killing them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She
so
used
that's
to wear-
how she got her name.
She used to wear her denim outfits backwards. This
Mhm.
is 86
Mhm.
before Crisscross or any of
All
them was
that.
even born yet.
True indeed. True
She
indeed.
was already innovative back
Yeah,
then.
No doubt.
It's hilarious, man. And we all met at that same time and came up together. And I've known them for ages. I mean, I grew up with, like I said, my man Giuliano. That's my dude. We went
That
to high
is
school
family.
Mhm.
Giuliano is like that's like my cousin.
No
so.
doubt.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
I mean, I don't say like my sister's family. Like that's my. I just go. That's my cousin. You know.
What's
Or,
up?
I don't know. It's like one of those things. Like it just.
That's what's up, though.
Yeah.
And it showed you how small the world is.
Yeah.
True indeed.
Brooklyn is small. I keep telling people, I'm like, Brooklyn is big, but it's small. Like, trust me.
Well, the world
Trust
is
me.
big, but it's small.
Yeah.
God bless the dead, but y'all just mentioned Combat Jack.
Mm-hmm.
He was my attorney.
Yeah, I remember him being a
That's
hip hop
crazy.
lawyer. I
Yeah,
He
remember
was my
that.
attorney when I was doing my first record deal, and then we was doing me and my man Link. We were supposed to sign with Bad Boy when
Mm.
Puffy first started, and he was negotiating a deal, and we turned it down. And he always asked like, "Are you sure?" And it's like, "Nah, fuck that," And God bless him. Before he passed, we ran into each other, and he was like, "You did pretty good by turning that deal down." I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah,
man."
no doubt. No doubt.
God bless him, man.
That's what's
you know.
up.
So it's the world is
Small.
very very small.
Yeah, it's like, but it's always interconnected. Like
Yeah.
it's someone
Hey,
you know that
everything
knows
is
somebody. You know what I'm
interconnected,
saying?
man.
Like you'd be surprised. You think you're just a dot, as they say. But
But back then, that was the era where like hip hop was the Boys and Girls Club was
It was organic.
was Latin Quarters,
Yep.
was Union Square.
Nobody
Where
knew what
Stretch
it
and the
was.
IOU dancers back in the days, he used to be
Running.
down with them
Running
before
shit.
Mop Tops and everybody
Yeah.
else.
Yep.
He been legendary.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
man.
saying? So that's why I definitely wanted my listeners to hear from this man that I respect as a mentor, not just doing dancing, but just taking that dancing into a business format. You know
But
what I'm
you
saying?
guys watched it
And
from
elevating it.
nothing to
Mhm.
like now it's super commercial. You guys are part of it when it was just literally
Organic.
just
Well, you
organic.
know
It's
what, though?
coming from nothing. It's being built up.
Y'all
It's
gotta
being
stop
structured.
looking at it that
You don't
way,
know
though.
Right.
where
and-
Gotta stop
it's
looking at it
going
that
at the
way.
time. You're having fun.
Mhm.
You're
But
just.
I'm at a point with what Bobby Buddha's saying. I'm at a point now because I was one I always admired the dances. I even studied it and everything.
Same.
Even though
I went to.
I
went
wasn't
to
the greatest dancer, but I
dance
could
class.
bust a two-step and do my thing.
Mm.
But I think now, I didn't want to get into that part yet, but since you brought it up, I feel like now that innovation that you guys
It's
are doing back
gone.
then, no, I think it's being
I don't think
It
it's
is
being in
now.
the same fashion. I think it's creating something else that's not hip hop.
Well,
I
that's
think it's
what-
something
it
else.
depends.
Because
How
when
you
hip hop
look at-
first started, it was not called hip hop. Nobody knew what that was.
But
It was like we're just making beats, we making music, we're having fun, we partying. It was just like we're chilling.
But
We're
think about
literally
it,
just
though.
like being young and having fun type. Well, not me, I was a baby,
But-
but like that's what I'm trying to say is that. So what I'm saying now is that it's not going to be hip hop. Whatever's being formed is going to be
Something
whatever.
else.
Yeah.
But guess
Another
what?
genre
Yeah.
But I'll
of
say
dance.
this though: who's to say it's not hip hop?
But here's the
I
thing,
don't
y'all
think
gotta
so.
Because
look
it's
at.
what the generation.
Hold
I
on.
don't
now
think
is
so. I think
proceeding.
that hip hop cannot stay around for this long and nothing evolved from it. That's kind of what I get annoyed with people about is that things evolve. Let's stop thinking things are not going to change. It's that you have to let things change. You can't just be like, it's hip hop, it's hip hop. Things evolved. Just like hip hop evolved from jazz and all this other
Right.
stuff and funk and soul. It evolves. It's been around too long. It's not gonna always stay. Some things
Well,
are gonna stay
basically, that's
hip-hop,
how we
just
got
like
our
people
hip-hop.
still play jazz. Yes, but it's like you have to understand when things are changing and let it fucking go.
True.
This new shit is not hip hop.
Gotcha.
So who?
So-
Hey,
I
you know
call
what?
it-
I've had this.
I call it
discussion.
what I call like, for
I've
example,
had-
for example, no, we're good because I'm a music bitch. I've been listening to music since. Listen, I grew up on everything. Okay, so anyway.
Everything.
Everything.
Everything, and he can
Chris.
Prince can tell you I'm mixed. Like
No
I'm, you know what I'm
doubt.
saying. I got Trini in me, got fucking Puerto Rican, everything. Like
Oh, you got
so,
salsa in you too.
everything. Like I grew up with music. My grandfather listened to 70% jazz. My mom listened to. So I'm a music girl. What I'm saying is that this right. So like you have hip hop, right? You have people in this genre not making the same music, right? Two artists, right? We're not even gonna go old. Let's go new. You got Dom Kennedy. You got what's the artist? A Boogie. They're on the same label. They do not make the same music. One of them makes hip hop. One of them makes what I call trap pop. That's what I call it because it's trappy, it's poppy. It's not hip hop to me. There is no street shit, that real shit that we had where it was like, you know what I'm saying? Like where you felt that hood shit and you felt your hardships on a song. There is not that. That's gone. Now it's like I'm fronting, I'm making it might sound hot, it might sound dope to the kids, but this is not real organic stuff.
Anything
that-
is catchy is gonna sell.
Thank you.
But-
at the same
but
time,
that's
this
not
is
what-
not the same time.
We're
what,
not-
But
what
hold on,
hip
hold
hop
on,
is.
hold on.
But let's bring it
what
all
came
back
from
though.
is
Gotta
not
bring it back.
this new shit.
because that went somewhere.
Yeah.
We talking.
I'm using
hip-hop
examples.
dance.
I got you.
Hold on, but let me interject.
It has
Yeah.
to do with dance.
Let
It
me
has to do with
interject here.
dance.
Let's
Right.
stay with the music.
It has to
for a
do with
moment.
dance.
Let's stay with the music for a moment. Let's go back. You said hood street shit. What was MC Hammer?
Hood
He was hood street, but he was very poppy.
and an
He
entertainer.
was poppy.
He sold more records than everybody.
Anybody.
but
True
he was
indeed.
also
He
pop.
sold more records than
He
everybody.
was pop.
He was not an MC.
But he was
No.
poppy.
Not
sold
at all.
more records than everybody, and at that time,
So he
the
didn't go
argument
pop?
the argument that you making now was made then,
Then.
for him.
But
him,
it's true.
For
Vanilla
what's his
Ice
name?
pop.
What's his name? Tone Loc. Tone Loc's a gangster, but he wasn't making
But he
gangster
made pop
music.
music.
And that's my point.
Ja
You
Rule
gotta
is from
look at it.
fucking Hollis, and that nigga was making bops. I was
Hey, don't diss
listen.
Hollis. I'm from Hollis, Queens.
I was jamming to Ja Rule.
But
okay.
my point is, all of that was considered hip hop.
Yes.
Exactly.
So how can you
That's
again
why I say you
make
can't-
that
All right,
same
y'all can
argument
be
about
stuck.
these
It's
dudes?
not the same
They-
to me.
Trust
but
me,
I
I don't dig. I don't even know the artist you talking about because I don't
do
listen to
because
them.
I'm a
Right.
music girl. I
But-
listen to everything.
I know that when that stuff come on and the people that I meet, they have the same exact reaction
Yeah.
that I had when I heard Eric B. and Rakim.
Exactly.
No
So
doubt.
But-
I can't. Who am I to tell them that this is not
MC
their
Hammer
hip-hop?
was still rapping.
But even with that,
MC
how
Hammer
you
was
saying,
still
how you saying what
rapping.
you saying,
But
you're taking
even
away from
though
the
he was
generation
still
now who has their
rapping.
title of hip hop.
Yeah, there you
We
gotta give
acting
them.
like we're
you just
still
said it
stuck.
evolved,
It
so it
evolved.
evolved past what we think it is.
I
to how
just don't
their
find it to be
perception
the
of it.
same.
But that's fine.
But it shouldn't be the same.
It shouldn't be.
That's
that's
what
the
I'm trying to
point.
say is that it shouldn't be.
That's just like
But
with
it isn't.
dance. How we were doing the WAP. Now the WAP turned into that. What's that?
the Running
The-
Man
not-
turned
the
into
Running
something
Man went
different.
to the Millie
that
WAP.
that
whatever.
that foot shit.
The
I'm like
Dougie.
that was
The
the Running
Dougie.
Man.
Everything.
You know, so everything didn't just stay the same. We've evolved.
It's all good because
I mean,
they
I'm
showed
not
my.
sure
At least they
the
showed
whole-
Dougie love.
Yeah.
So
But when
that
I was taking
good.
dance at Broadway Dance Center, right?
Mm.
This is at a time where hip hop first got into dance schools. This was not like, hip hop wasn't in dance schools long. You
That's
couldn't
a-
find
that's
a
that.
whole lot
What
of
year was
people
that?
doing. I'm not telling, but anyway, you couldn't find a whole
I'm-
lot of
I gotta
people.
interject.
Yeah,
on that.
we have to. We
I
have
have
to.
to
A
You know
long
why?
time. A long time.
'Cause-
Anyway, it's a long time.
Because I introduced the dance to Broadway Dance Center.
Thank you.
Well, it was a
was
long
the
time.
So
first teacher
that's
there.
why
That's
you know,
right.
Wandie. That's why we,
That's why we
that's
love
why
you.
we've been wanting to bring it back.
But you know
Because
what
he
I'm
was
saying?
gonna
This is
bring
like,
you back and bring you
I'm
where
young,
you want to be
but
at.
I'm old and experiencing of
We got you.
evolutions
We
and
got
things
you.
myself. Is that okay, right? So when I talk about the wild 90s to these kids, they're like, this bitch is old. What the fuck is she talking about? Mind you, I go to old people and I'm like, and they're like, what the fuck were you doing in the tunnel? I'm like, yes, I was not even old enough. I was like,
I was in a tunnel at 14.
you know what I mean? So was I. I was like,
That's just how it was. You
and
just-
mind you, it was like,
RSVP'd
okay,
my way into
you
the
look
rap
old.
scene
It was
at
like,
15
okay.
years old.
Come on,
That's
that's
it.
just what we did.
That's what
Back
we
I was
did.
like,
We
please.
RSVP'd. They didn't know who we were. We got fake IDs from the Deuce.
I didn't even
on
have
the
a fake
tie.
ID. I had big boobs, and that was it. That they were like, all right, go right in. You must be old. So this is before I even had a fake ID. I didn't have a fake ID till Speed Days, which was well after the tunnel closed down because of Peter Gation's bullshit. Shout out to Limelight. Shout out to the Palladium.
Gotcha.
And shout out to the tunnel because before I was even having sex, I was up in them clubs. Okay. Yeah, I was
Now
just.
let's bring it
I
back
just needed to be grown.
again. Let's bring it another back.
I know I'm mad young
Yo.
up in here. I'm mad young.
That's
I need
why
somebody like,
this is why when I said what I said in the intro, it's for a reason. I brought this gentleman here for a reason.
I'm like, he just said he brought hip hop to Broadway Dance, and I'm like,
Guy's the-
okay. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna.
Wikipedia,
Well, you know,
right here.
Live Wikipedia.
I have him here. We're gonna get it all out.
But
I
let,
bet you
Of
he
my-
like remembers
my
all
dude.
my teachers.
Hey,
probably.
let's go.
but let me ask you a question.
Bev,
Let's-
that was my
let's-
favorite class.
Let's
as
go.
well.
Let's
That's-
go. Let's
Bev
get
still
it back.
teaches
First
there.
things first that I wanted to know is, all right, well, who's Bev?
She's like, that's the
Bev
listen.
B.
That's the
She's been
queen of
teaching at
BDC right
BDC
there.
for years.
Okay. But
All
let
right.
me get to getting to know you a bit more. Your name. How did you establish your name in the scene?
Okay. When I got into popping and breaking, and I was with a couple of brothers again, Flatbush.
Flatbush.
Brooklyn.
That's fine.
Lower Flatbush this time by the junction with I had my best friend was my brother Daniel Toussaint, and his older brother, his name was Pierre. He was an MC. His name was Professor Pete, and he introduced me to another brother called Professor Paul, who was a DJ. And we were at their house. We was at Paul's house, and we were practicing our little popping at the time, and trying to come up with names. Because my man Craig, his name was Snake at the time. Danny was Prince D, and I was trying to come up with something.
I love
but
these names.
his man said, "Yo, you stretch like a slinky when you dance." So at first, my nickname was Slinky for about 2 weeks. But then when you put Slinky, Snake, Prince D, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it
So
doesn't work.
then,
That's
I
so
remember what
funny.
dude said. He's like, "You stretch like a Slinky." So everybody was like, "Yo, stretch that," and that stuck. And that
Okay.
became the thing. And then not too long after that, my father took me to a place called a Kaikan near Union Square and introduced me to Buddhism. And I started studying Buddhism from when I was like, I'll say maybe 16, 17 years old. And fast forward about 8 or 9 years later, having started to travel and learn on my own, when I was coming home, I started to teach my father things about Buddhism that he didn't know. And so he started to call me Master Stretch. And I was like, I'm not a master of anything. Like, stop that. But my pops is from Panama, and he's hard-headed, and I can't tell him shit even to this day. So he wasn't hearing it. He said, "You Master Stretch," because I said so. So my man, my best friend on earth, my man Khalif, was like, "Okay, you don't want to be called Master Stretch. I'm going to call you Buddha Stretch." And he started that. And from that day on, it was Buddha Stretch. And I was like, all right, I could deal with that. But then it became a thing for me of having to live up to that title hence me studying Buddhism and understanding what it exactly means, then I had to really take it seriously, but that's where the name comes from.
Oh, cool.
Oh, so that was your question?
Yeah, that was my question.
Oh, okay. Nah, I thought he had like a loaded like phone full of questions. Anyway, what are some of the people like you like collaborated with during your time of doing your 1-2?
Oh man, shit.
I know
Good
that's a loaded
question.
question because I
That's a
you know what I'm
definitely
saying?
loaded question.
I like that question.
Well, I'll put it this way: when I started,
Mhm.
I started in a club called Union Square,
Right.
1986, which is actually not the truth. I actually started at the Latin Quarters
Mhm.
before Union Square opened, and then, but I got my start because they hired us to dance in Union Square.
Right.
And what happened was they originally had some other dancers that were supposed to come and do a performance, some b-boys, poppers, or whatever. And Union Square was, it was brolic. It was as hood as it could possibly be. And these heads came and they weren't ready, and they felt like they wouldn't be, received very well should they get on that stage. So they fronted. My man who was a part of the thing, Tron, he got my man Peter Paul and my man Danilo. Shout out Danny from again Flatbush.
Salute. Salute.
We all dance in the club every week, so they asked them to get on the stage and just do a little something.
Right.
And so they jumped on stage and just rocked out, and crowd went wild. Red alert! Everybody was like, "This is hot." And so the organizers asked, "Could y'all do this every week?" And they were like, "Yeah, we can, but we missing one person." It was me. I wasn't there that night.
They're like, wow, like you want us and we didn't even get our real story here.
And so they asked, they immediately the next day called me and told me to come to the club on Monday. And of course, I'm wondering, like, Union Square was every Friday. Like, what you talking about? Come to the club on Monday? It's like, just show up at the club, be there in the afternoon. And when I get there, they're like, yo, this is my man Stretch. He's the choreographer. He's gonna put the show together. And I'm like, what? What y'all talking about? A show? What are you? And then they explained to me, and I was like, oh, so wait, y'all telling me I could get in free? Y'all gonna pay me to come what I used to pay you to do here? And it was like, yeah,
They're
we'll
like,
pay
yeah.
you. You get free drinks. You got a guest list. I'm like, hold up.
Got something here.
Yeah, this might be, some
like,
shit that
yeah,
I
I
could
do
actually
this
get
all the
into.
time.
True indeed.
And so that very Friday, we started that rehearsal was that Monday. And we started practicing, put together the show, and that first show was that weekend. And we opened up, we were the opening act for the club. So being the opening act, I got to meet most of the rappers because this was around their first performances. KRS-One, Eric B. and Rakim, Salt and Pepper. Pooh Bah when he was with Masters of Ceremony before Brand Nubian. You know what I'm saying?
Girl, you're sexy.
Biz, Roxanne, Shantae. I mean, I got to meet all of these people, opening up in the club. And then, we were dancing. Nobody had seen nothing that we was doing at the time. And so Heads was like, what is this shit? It wasn't break dancing. It was something else. And that's what we called it hip hop, because we only danced to that music and we only danced in the clubs to that. So that's where that terminology came from.
Yep.
And then from that, I got to go on tour with Houdini because my man Cliff Love,
I love Houdini.
Brooklyn, he was rocking with Houdini, and they had came to Union Square and saw the show. He told Jalil, yo, this is the dude that you need to get. And, the funniest thing was that same year, my sister bought tickets for the Raising Hell tour, Madison Square Garden, Houdini, Run DMC, LL Cool J. So we're in the seats watching this performance, and I see my man Cliff on stage with them. And I'm watching the show, and the exact date, the very next year, I'm on that
On the
stage
show.
with them.
Yes,
My
sir.
sister's there with me. They got backstage passes, and we on the stage. And I'm like, a year ago, I was watching y'all.
Watch it.
Now I'm on this motherfucker with everybody else. And it was
That's that shit.
crazy, but that's how the spirit worked.
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
This is true.
Yes,
And from that point, through them, I met Houdini. Of course, met Run DMC, LL, Stetson Sonic, Heavy D and the boys. I had already met Hev and them at Union Square. Eric B and Rakim met them at Union Square. Um, we toured with Public Enemy, Dougie Fresh, my man.
Oh, and at the same time when you was touring, you had the video, the black and white. Be yourself. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, we shot that.
That
video
was flowing.
on the tour.
Right.
We was on the tour. We
remember.
flew home. We shot that video here. We went right back out on the road. Came home in the winter, shot another video, and then we did that tour. I left that tour, went back to school because I missed graduating high school because I went on tour. I was supposed to go
It's crazy.
summer school. I didn't go to summer school. My summer school
Right.
Was
I
on
went on
tour.
tour.
Yeah, facts.
So I did the tour for about almost a year. Then I quit the tour. I went back to high school, got my diploma, and then I got a record deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Talk
after I
about
got
it.
my record deal,
Talk about
I
it.
started to, record and do my other thing. And, and then I met a special lady who I met her through Houdini being on tour, when we did Soul Train. Her name is Rosie Perez.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Boop. All
When we
right.
were-
That's Rose. I used to see her on Park Slope all the time growing up.
Yep.
That's fam right there.
So I met her doing Soul Train with Houdini, and then she came to New York. This is 1988, and called my man Cliff, and was like, "I need, I'm doing this thing. They want some dancing for this Jody Watley thing, and blah blah blah." And Cliff was like, "Yo, I'm gonna call Stretch." And Stretch was like, he's like, "Yo, Stretch, get Tron. Let's put something together. They want us to do this video." Eric B and Rakim again with Jody Watley, friends, and that was one of the first videos that we danced in outside of Houdini or whatever. And from that point on, Rosie came back and she was like, "I'm doing something with Diana Ross, and I need you to help choreograph and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Okay." And so we got the team together for that. And at that, she went to the club. She met my man, God bless the dead, heart and soul, my brother Voodoo Ray.
Yes.
And
yes.
she told him, "I need dancers for this video." And he got Khalif, Link, Ramir, Marjorie, God bless the dead, Lil
Yes.
Asia, Asa, Joyce. He got all of them. You could see them. And we all met at that video, And from that video, that was basically the launch pad because we all got together. And then we did
Men
Heavy
in
D and the
Black.
Boys. We did Dougie Fresh, Salt and Pepper. I did after that, and that we became a family at this time. And we
Yes.
started to do a lot of things. Shout out to my man Flex Alexander,
True
original
indeed.
mop top head.
True
My
indeed.
man, Ade Mola
Yes,
Roller,
sir.
Yes,
mop
sir.
top for
I
life.
dig.
Yes, sir.
Out here with Miss Lauren Hill,
Yeah, he's
and
doing his
the
numbers.
crazy thing is when we started all of this thing, we was just kids, club heads, club kids going out having fun,
Yeah.
and people said, "You know what? I like what you do. I'll pay you for it."
Hmm.
And my father was like, "You're gonna pay well, and you're gonna handle this like a business." And he made sure that we understood that you have to put a value on what you do,
Your talent.
and you have to realize that what you do is a commodity. And that's how he broke it down to me. And he broke it down to all of my folks. And he was like, "You are a commodity. You do not sell anything for free. You're not giving nothing away." Yeah, from that point, we met a lady by the name of Diane Martell. And, she shot this documentary called House of Trey, where she was originally shooting about the, gay nightlife, club nightlife.
Right.
And she was going there to shoot that. But while going to shoot that, she happened to go in every club, and she saw the Vogers and the DJs and everything. But then she saw all these kids dancing, and she's like, "Well, what the fuck is this?" And the first person she met from our crew was my man Ejo, and he introduced her to the rest of us. So she ended up shooting that documentary and divided it in half. The first half of it is about us. Second half of it is about
the Vulgars and
the
everything.
Vulgars and all of that. And then through that, she was good friends and worked with Mariah, and so she introduced Mariah to all of us. It's like, you need this in your life. And so Mariah, basically that's, the first folks that she hired was my man Link and Marquez,
Shout out
Rub,
Mark.
Pika, and that's how they became the Misfits.
Mm-hmm.
And and then eventually I got put on through Link, and I became a choreographer for her. And then, in the process of that, I was supposed to do choreography for LL Cool J, who I toured with for the Billboard Music Awards in 1991, but I couldn't. I was in Fremont, California with my man Dougie Fresh, working with him and MC Hammer. And so I passed that job to a lady by the name of Fatima Robinson.
Shout out
And-
Oh,
Fatima.
Tima, yeah.
And so she hit me up to thank me, and we got to talking, and she told me I should come to LA for an audition for Michael Jackson.
Mm.
And, you should dance for Michael, you should tour.
MJ
And I
for
was
life,
like,
I mean.
nah. And I told her straight up, nah, I don't want to dance for Michael Jackson. She thought I was crazy.
Right.
And I told her, nah, I don't want to dance for Michael Jackson. I want to choreograph Michael Jackson.
I was about to
Okay.
say. I was about,
Nah,
I-
nah,
Businessman.
Nah, nah,
No,
nah.
that's the business.
The plot
man.
thickens. Nah, let's
That's
get
I was
it.
about to be
Businessman.
like, what
So,
did you just
let
say
my
in
dude
front of
finish.
Yeah,
me?
man.
Let him finish this story.
It
It's
goes
gonna be
back.
a good story for you.
It goes
I
back
was
to my
about to
pops.
say.
When I was in Flatbush, shout out to my man Dex Flex. Used to dance with me. We used to pop and everything, and then he got heavy into the whole Michael Jackson phenomenon. He had the penny loafers, he had the socks,
He
had
was
the
all in.
red jacket, the leather. He was all in. He had Michael's gestures and all that. So one day we hanging out. My pop sees, him and a bunch of other heads all screaming, going crazy about this Michael Jackson thing. So he asked me a question. It's like, you like Michael Jackson? I was like, to me, that's a dumb question because I like Michael Jackson before this whole
It's like,
thriller
don't
thing.
ever ask me that.
I know,
Don't ever ask me that.
I like Michael Jackson from the Jackson
ever
5.
like
Like,
Michael
what? Why you
Jackson.
asking me this stupidness? But he, my pops is always coming at me sideways so that I'll realize shit. He's like, you like Michael Jackson? Of course I like Michael Jackson. So you want to be like Michael Jackson? I'm like, who don't want to be like Michael Jackson? He said, you don't. And I'm like, what the fuck is you talking about? Like, he said, you don't want to be like Michael Jackson. You want to be better than Michael Jackson. And I'm looking at my pops. Again, I'm 15 years old. I'm like, this man is wild. Why is he always bugging out on me?
That's wisdom.
I
You
said
know
that's
what?
been-
Of course.
That's
Tough love.
wisdom.
Of course. So when I'm having this conversation with Fatima, that's in my head. That shit comes back like, ding.
You drop that seed
This is
of
what
thought
Pops is
in you.
talking about.
Yeah.
So I hit her in the head like, nah, I don't want to dance for Michael Jackson. I don't want to go on tour with Michael Jackson. Plus, I had my oldest, my first daughter at the time.
Okay.
She was only almost 2 years. She wasn't even 2 years old yet.
Shout
So
out
I was like,
Sade.
I'm not about This is not Shaq.
No.
This is
Whoa.
before my
The
oldest
greatest
fault.
entertainer that ever lived.
Oh,
Like what?
God.
So I was
what?
like,
what?
I got a brand new daughter. I don't want to go on tour. I said, but you know what I want to do? I want to choreograph Michael Jackson. So we laughed. It was a joke at that point. But as they tell you, you speak shit into existence.
Mhm.
Or a joke is sometimes a little bit of truth behind it.
Well,
Also, that could be also a little bit of that too.
Well, the science behind it is this: it's all vibration.
Yeah.
Put in enough energy
Pretty much.
behind anything, and you can bring it to fruition.
No doubt.
Case in point, literally 1 month later, we at
I'm
the
gonna win
Manhattan
lotto.
Center.
I'm gonna win the lotto.
Um,
Win the lotto.
Let's see that I've been trying that
Sorry.
shit for
Hey, you
decades.
said. I'm
Some
just
things
taking
you
the
ain't meant to
advice.
have.
Lots.
So we at the Manhattan Center shooting a video with Dougie Fresh and MC Hammer, and I get a beat because no cell phones at the time. I get a 911 from an LA number. So I call, run upstairs to the production office. I call the number back because I know it's for Tima. I'm like, Tima, what's good? She's like, guess what?
You about to choreograph a Michael
We about
Jackson?
to do Michael Jackson, yeah. That's exactly what she said. But she wasn't that hype. She was like, guess what? We about to do Michael Jackson. Guess what happened? I hung up on her. I
I
said,
don't
stop
know how she
playing.
Right.
call you that lit.
You didn't even believe her.
Come on, son. I'm like, she hit me back 911 again. She's like, I'm serious. I'm like, Fatima, I'm shooting a
She's
video
like, did
right
you
now.
just hear what I said to
Yeah.
you?
And I said, I'm shooting a video right now.
I'm
I ain't got no
working.
time for this
That's
bullshit.
No games,
Stop
no
playing.
games.
Click.
Hmm.
I hung up on her twice. She
Yeah.
had John Singleton, the director, call me.
He's like, if
Hmm.
you
And then
don't
when
like,
That's when
I-
it hits you.
That's when I'm looking at the phone like, oh shit, this shit is real.
That's when the dancing moves.
No, ain't nothing happened. I mean, he's talking on the phone. I'm holding the phone here.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking like, and he's like, hello. Oh, yeah, I'm here. I'm
That's
sorry.
how
crazy.
John Singleton had to be like, listen, if you hang the phone up one more time,
Yo.
Yeah. it
Yo,
hit
you
me in
want
the
this
head
check?
then.
You want this
right?
check?
Do you
want
want
this
to
check?
work for Michael or not? Are you
You
trying
know.
to choreograph or what?
But it was
Yes,
crazy
sir.
because after I hung up with him, I stood there for at least a minute and just was like in awe, like, is this shit
Yeah.
really
Yes,
happening?
yes,
Yeah.
it just
Take it in.
happened.
And now we on the video set. We in Manhattan, so I come downstairs. Of course, my peeps is there. You know, Flex, Link, Ja, Loose Joint, Khalif, and they looking at me. I'm smiling. I got the Kool-Aid.
Yo, you already.
The Kool-Aid. And they like, yo, what happened? What happened? And I just whispered. I was like, we gonna do Michael Jackson. Them niggas like, what? Yo, we finna do Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
You
boy.
talk about some kids
Yo.
Yes.
like reverting to like 5, 6
Right,
year old.
did they believe you initially though?
We running through the whole Manhattan Center, jumping up and down, screaming, yeah!
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Voodoo Ray, Ejo, Loose Joint. We just wildin'. Everybody in the set is looking at us like,
Wow.
what's wrong with these dudes? They
The
bugging out.
greatest entertainer
That
that,
was-
ever lived just contacted
Nah,
us.
that
The
was-
motherfucker work.
that was
Excuse me.
monumental for the team.
Excuse me.
Plus New York City
I don't
dancers.
even hear you. I don't
That
even
that
hear
that
like,
spoke volumes back then.
Imagine
So we
someone
was
telling you
bugging
that.
out,
It's like,
you know?
excuse me,
Dumb.
excuse me,
Yeah.
peasant. Are you speaking to me? Michael Jackson just called me to choreograph. Don't talk directly to this. I would have been like that unhumble.
And that right there, that cosign right there just opened up a whole
Dude.
another avenue.
But
for
you know what? The
You don't ever
crazy
have
thing
to-
is that video was okay. That video was beyond a video. That was a
It was a-
statement.
yeah.
You know, it was a
exactly,
statement.
Exactly.
And the craziest thing was we were in Fremont with Hammer when I was working with Doug and MC Hammer and his brother. They had Michael's album before it came out. And we were in the office. They brought us in the office to play it. And so they were playing all the songs that Teddy Riley produced. And they was dissing the songs. They was dissing. They was like, oh, this sound like,
I
you
don't
know,
like
reused
this. I
guy.
don't like whoever was dissing them
Reused
songs. We got a
guy
problem
shit.
right now.
Only song that they thought was hot, Remember the Time.
Hmm.
And we sitting there looking at them like, these niggas is
Boo,
crazy.
they whack. Excuse
we
me.
was like, these niggas was crazy. All of these songs
Boo,
was hot.
boo.
'Cause, like, you know, they played Keep It in the Closet, Jam, all that.
Dope,
We like, all of this
dope.
shit's hot.
That
And they
was a
like,
dope
Oh,
album.
this sound like some old guy stuff. And we looking at them.
Yeah.
Me and Doug is like, all right.
Mm.
Y'all don't like it? Whatever.
They
He was
whack.
like,
they was
"Y'all-
they had
these
they
niggas
had
bugging."
wax in their ears
Only
and
song when they
basura
played
taste.
it-
Okay.
As soon as they played it, they were like, nah, this is hot. This is a hit. And we sitting there laughing like, nigga, all them shits is hits. What is y'all
Dead
talking
ass.
about?
They don't
What is
even
y'all
get it.
talking about?
Like,
But
y'all wildin'.
it just so happened though. But that was the spirit, you know. Let me, which I didn't know at the time, but just like, look, this is what's coming. And I'm just like, when I look back at it, I'm like, damn, that's the one song that they thought was
I would
hot.
have kicked your
and-
head clean off
you
your
know.
body if you told me that MJ didn't back then. I would.
even
Nah, you were gonna get like Austin Power judo chopped in the neck. Like,
Listen.
are you dumb?
Yep.
Like, are you dumb? Don't ever speak to me anything about MJ. I'll slap you. Like,
and even that video to me, I consider that one my
keep
favorite.
it. How you gonna say
favorite
keep it in the
video.
closet?
Favorite
Nah, because it was an all-star cast
Listen.
and everything.
It was a
crazy.
Broadway show. That's how
All
I
Yeah.
anything MJ
Crazy.
touched
Yeah.
in that.
Talk.
Listen,
Yeah.
I watched Moonwalker. Let me tell you something. I watched Moonwalker every day. I mean, like, not for like 1 year. It was like years, okay? I love MJ. I'm talking about since I was like a baby before I could talk. My mom was like, I don't even know why you I love MJ. You can't even tell me nothing. You don't even tell me nothing. Don't ever insult me and say there's something. Do you know what he did for music videos and music and movies? Like,
invented the
so
whole
I get
genre.
insulted
No
when
doubt.
people say Beyonce or
Oh,
Kanye
please.
is my. Do you know what the fuck he
Sit
did? He
down.
innovated.
Sit down.
You can't if you're not innovating. Don't even speak
But
to
wait,
me.
let's
Don't
just
even-
start
don't even
here.
speak to me. Don't even speak to me.
Think about MTV. It wasn't no black people on
Not
MTV.
at all.
Thank you.
None.
Not at
Thank
all.
you.
Was the
Michael
all.
was
was
the
opening
person
it up.
on
And first of
MTV.
all, they were showing bullshit videos.
On
Yeah.
He
MTV.
made once he did Thriller, it was just
It was
like,
all
oh,
hair
wait,
bands
we
and
got
bullshit.
some shit to show now.
And mind you,
then that listen, that changed the whole game.
But think about it. That was
Pretty
to me,
much.
if I remember, that's probably was the first movie video.
It was.
Thank you.
John
Thank you,
Landis.
sir.
Bro.
John Landis don't
Sir.
direct videos.
He got the dude that did
Listen,
John
Werewolf
Landis don't
in
direct
London.
video.
That video was a legitimate.
I have the
movie.
making
Like-
of that
like
tape too, because
horror
I had
movie
everything
video.
MJ.
Yeah.
John Landis loved Michael Jackson. He didn't want to work with no musician, but he worked
Yeah.
with Michael Jackson.
crazy.
He's like, what? And he didn't even believe, mind you, this is at a time where he didn't even believe Michael Jackson was calling him. He got woken up and his wife told him, he's like, yo, Michael Jackson on the phone. He's like, the fuck? He's like, hang the phone up. That's not Michael Jackson.
Shoot.
John, yo,
See?
don't ever insult Michael Jackson to me. I
Right.
will fight you. Like,
So
I'm going to
that-
throw a shoe at your head.
Game
Like,
changing, and
innovating.
Shoot.
people
That's
don't really get it.
crazy.
But
so
you
when
see
I
as a
hear about the
pattern,
whole thing about
innovating,
Beyonce or
innovating.
anybody, I'm
Yeah.
like, y'all need to sit down with that.
And do your homework.
Innovate.
comparison.
Innovations.
Indeed.
Wait, we can start before Thriller. Let's start with the original boy band, the Jackson
The
5.
Jackson 5.
Come
Listen,
on.
Facts.
innovating,
Okay.
innovating.
How did people start getting into the robot and dancing?
Michael
Jackson.
Jackson.
Yeah.
On
Definitely.
Soul Train. Come on, he did it
On that
his
dancing.
TV shows. He was on a share show.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike was incredible
And
from
the
9
most-
all the way up.
And
Like,
the most
But
iconic
he was
move,
an
the moonwalk.
innovator. An innovator. When you are the first to
please, the
create
Motown
a
25th
wave.
anniversary is
Come on.
no
no
comparison
listen.
before or
Oh,
since.
No doubt.
You're absolutely right.
That
People
that show
like really
changed
like
the
get
whole
on my nerves
landscape.
when they diminish what he is to music. Like
they
that
could
really
try.
like grinds
They
my
could
gears.
try.
And it's like you can make your favorites as big as you can make the listen, they ain't that.
Nope,
They're just not.
Not even.
That is the greatest entertainer that ever fucking lived to this day, and that nigga's dead. So like that should tell you everything you need to know. Like
People make me laugh with
I
that.
can't.
I'm like,
And mind you, that doesn't mean
y'all
that
need to
I don't
chill.
dig what people do. I do. It's the same thing. Why you not gonna ever tell me that Nicki is better than Kim? I've been listening ever. What Kim did, nobody was doing that shit before.
Yeah, huh?
Right.
Nobody was doing that.
And
Bitches
she-
was dressing like niggas, rapping like niggas. Okay, Kim came out and she
Looking
was this
like
little,
niggas.
she was this little Brooklyn bitch talking that Brooklyn shit. She was cute as fuck. She was doing wild shit with the fashions. And the fact that the fashion industry, CDFA, gave Kim boring ass an award before Kim. I can't. See, I can't. But the theme of today is innovation. It's innovation. It's innovation.
You
That's it.
heard?
That's it. I'm
I
quiet.
And
now.
also,
I'm
I
quiet
was-
now. I'm quiet.
And also, I was gonna.
I had to throw that in there. I had
Well,
to throw
Eddie-
that in there. I had to throw that in there.
I'm with you.
I just got to give you a shout out for Get Jiggy. That's all.
The funny thing about that is I toured with Will
Yeah.
with Houdini. That's where we met.
Listen.
I love
you know?
Houdini.
And so his man, who managed, he used to manage him, who manages
Mhm.
his son now, my man Omar Rambert.
Mhm.
He used to dance for Will,
Mm.
you know. And the funny thing is, we was talking about hi-hat and Nadine.
Right.
She was originally choreographing for Will. She did the boom boom shake the room.
Room,
Yeah.
Right.
But it was Omar was like, nah, we got to do better. So he was like, yo, Stretch, what up? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we had always stayed in touch from touring, you know,
No
hanging out.
friendly competition.
And he had always saw what was going on with, you know, with me in the dance world. So he kept in touch and he was like, we gonna do this thing with Will. Just, I got this. And
Mm.
I was just like, cool, whatever, you know.
Mhm.
And then one day he hit me up, and they were at I forgot the studio over there on 51st Street. He was like, "Yo, come to the studio." I'm like, "All right." And this is the first time I saw Will in
Mhm.
years. It's like, "Yo, we getting ready to do this. You know, we did this movie, we finishing it, and this is the soundtrack." And they played it, and I was like, "Oh, Patrice Rushen, okay." And then it was like,
Mhm.
I was like, "Oh, this is kind of hot. All right." And then it was like,
Hit her with
okay,
that shit.
we gonna do Men in Black. And the funniest thing about that is
That was a big song too.
we
Yeah.
did the the choreography in that video was actually part of it was from a Mariah video that I did previously. We used it for the audition. When Will saw it, he
And he
was
wanted
like,
the
I didn't
piece.
see that in that video. We doing that for this video now. All right, y'all, learn this shit now because I'm learning this shit we do. And I'm sitting there like,
Word, Will was dancing in that
Yeah.
video.
and so after that, the same thing. He hit me up and he was like, come to my house. Flew out to LA and he played Getting Jiggy with it. And I'm sitting there listening like, okay, he's the greatest. Okay, yeah, whatever. This disco shit. He's like, okay, I got this one move. You got to do something with it. And he
Uh-oh.
just did that. I was like, okay, switch feet. Okay, turn around. Okay. He was like, this is hot. We doing this. I was like, okay.
And that was the
And
getting
it
It was
jiggy
that
with it.
easiest. It was no effort, no conversation.
Yo,
we
Will
just
Smith
played around in his
choreographed his
living
own
room.
And what's
dance.
crazy, that dance was rocking in the
Everybody
clubs.
was like, what?
everything.
Listen, he just said,
Yeah.
I want to do something like this. I was like, okay, go up and down. All right, switch feet. All right, now we're going to turn. And
Wow.
it was that easy. And we just laughed. When we did the video and I saw people doing that, I was like, this shit is mad corny. Like, why do y'all love it?
That's
People
crazy.
loved it. I used to sit back, me and Link used to sit back and laugh like, we never would do this dance, But it is what it is. That's, it's a blessing. And
That
That
that's how I
became a
look at
big
it.
song, so fuck it.
Yeah.
Exactly. It was huge, we were laughing at it
But
like,
that's the thing. The
That
simplest,
video,
the simplest
everything.
dance moves be the ones
Yeah.
that
It is
take
what it
off.
is.
Because
You know?
everybody could do it, and it's simple.
But
Yeah.
the song was like catchy. It was like getting jiggy with
Yeah.
it. Na 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 na.
Yep.
Na na na. It was like getting jiggy with it.
Yeah.
Like it was so catchy that whatever. It caught
Yeah,
on.
man.
That's what's
Shout
up.
out to my man O.
Word. So now, in the generation hip hop, you being the historian originator, I would consider you. State of hip hop dance or dance in total. What do
mean-
you see it being now?
It's amazing. It
Mhm.
depends on where you look. We tend to watch what's happening on TV or commercially but if you go in the street, these
Totally
kids is
different.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And the street dictates everything that gets
Mhm.
on the TV.
Huh.
So that's where I try to stay at. The craziest thing is here in the city, over the last decade or so, it's a dance they call light feet or get
Mhm.
light.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
twisting of the
Yeah, they
ankles.
do a
and
lot of
that shit is
dope
different.
The funniest thing is I saw some kids do it in the subway years ago, and I'm like, these kids just came. They had their little backpacks on. They
Mhm.
just dropped their backpacks. They had
And
no
they just be
music,
dancing, yeah.
and they just start, hey, and
Yeah.
they was
Yeah.
going off, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
No
what the fuck
music.
is these kids doing? And then my man Sabella, he's a musician and he's also a PhD at USC. He teaches dance there. He was doing his thesis at the time for his master's on dance, and he showed me a clip of these kids in the street, and I'm like, oh, I saw this in the subway. So we had a long conversation. We watched. He showed me the videos on his blog, and we went through all of this. And I'm talking to him on Facebook one day, and then and my daughter's in the house, and she overhears our conversation. She lets me finish the whole conversation with him, and then she's like, Daddy, everything that y'all was just talking about is wrong. And she schooled me, and then I schooled him, and he laughed because he was like, think about that. He's like, it would be your bloodline to correct, give the proper
Ain't that
information.
something?
I was like, and because of her, it made me get into the dance and start to really like, okay, I
Mhm.
observe what's going on here and there. And my man, again, he was doing his thesis, so he was checking out dances from everywhere.
Mhm.
And he was showing in his, for his masters, he was showing the connection between how the kids dance in Atlanta, how the kids dance in
Mhm.
Chicago,
Mhm.
how the kids in Philly dance, how the kids in Oakland dance, and how it's all interconnected. And it's funny because I look at it as synchronicity because at the time also
That's the internet also. That has a lot to do with like internet generation.
well, even before that, because as I was saying, I was working on a show with some tap dancers at the time. My man Sponge, my man J Sam, and it was a show called Imagine Tap. And meeting them, I didn't know that tap dancers are really heavy on lineage. And so they were walking around with DVDs of footage of the Nicholas brothers, of
Homework.
yeah,
Homework.
of
That's why tap
Bojangles.
dancers used to not
you
like
know.
Savion because they thought he wasn't pushing the culture forward, which I thought he was. But
He was. I mean, that was just hating.
Yeah.
Savion.
That's what I thought he
Savion
was.
Savion
comes
brought it back.
directly from that
That's what I was
lineage.
about to
Tell 'em.
say.
Those are just hating.
Yeah.
Those
Tell
people was
him.
hating.
Tell him.
The people that I'm just talking about used to do bring the noise, bring the funk with Savion.
They're like,
so,
Dule Hill used
Yeah.
to be on.
so that's like, what
Bring
are
in the
y'all
Funk.
talking about? This is the direct, But anyway, that leads into my point. Talking with them and watching this footage because, they wanted to interject the show Imagine Tap was showing how tap could connect with hip hop, house, and so we did that, and then in our conversations, that's what came up. Looking through the lineage of the dance, I started to see, okay, well, this is the same exact thing. It's just that y'all are doing this and we're doing this. We don't have taps
Exactly.
on, and then that conversation led to, well, without taps, it's called soft shoe. And I'm like, okay. And then, learning about how the Temptations and all of Motown learned from tap dancers.
Yeah.
They just took the taps off, they took the movement, and that is called vernacular jazz. And all of what we do is connected directly to that. They have exact analogs and the steps of what we do that the kids do now, and I teach that in class. Like, we do a lot of stuff. In Light Feet, they have a step called a rev up. It's a variation of the dance, the Charleston. And if you look at it, you can clearly see it. Now, in hip hop,
Like that
the
New
Charleston,
Orleans footwork.
yeah,
that
and
they do.
in hip hop, we call the Charleston the kid and play.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And prior to us, the B-boys call it the Charlie Rock, but it's all the same step. It's a lineage. So that is what put, my mind on the emphasis of, okay, dig deeper into shit. Look at the connections of everything, not just the dance, but everything is interconnected, which goes
Exactly.
all the way back to my pops introducing me to Buddhism. Because in Buddhism, it teaches you directly that everything is interconnected. All life, everything has a spirit to it, and it's all interconnected.
It's true. I feel you. I'm on my yoga thing now. Too,
I read
so-
the book. I don't do religions, but I read the Buddhist. What is it? Buddhist principle. The teachings of Buddhist principles.
The teachings
So,
of Buddha, yeah.
I have that book or whatever, and I mostly what spoke to me is about what they say about karma.
Mm-hmm.
It's about like most people go, oh well, with this kind of karma, and it's like people don't understand that you have to have positive and negative. It's
Yeah.
never gonna not be. They're always gonna be intertwined. So when people are always like, oh, good vibes, own it. Usually those are
You
the
don't
people
know
putting out the shittiest energy. Because like you have to always understand is that some days you're gonna feel like, wow, I'm having a great fucking day. How are you? I love you. And then some days you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be like, everybody get the fuck out of my face. And it's fair. It's all fair. So it's like mostly that stuff is like how everything has to have the yin and the yang thing.
Balance.
Everything has to be.
Bring balance
Nothing
to the
is
force.
ever gonna be one way. That's mostly what I got from it, and what spoke to me is that
Bringing balance.
it's never gonna be one way. It's gonna shift. You're gonna have a moment that's not positive. You're
Well,
gonna have
the
a moment
point-
that's not negative. You
The
know.
point is not to go too far left or right. Stay in the middle.
There you go.
Therefore, you can maintain balance. If you go too far to the left, you're gonna fall. You go too far to the right, you're gonna fall. But if you maintain, then when shit gets heavy, you still here.
But it's
Whereas
also like,
everybody else bugging
common
out,
sense.
going nuts.
You gotta keep your equilibrium.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Well, there's mad people going to the left these days, but I ain't gonna say no names.
well,
Wink,
yeah.
wink. Anyway,
Agent Orange.
oh boy, Stretch, you have any upcoming projects you wanna shout out?
Yeah, we're doing at EXPG Studios, 2nd Avenue and 2nd Street, 27 2nd Avenue, on 2nd Street. We're doing a summer dance intensive called 36 Chambers, which I mentioned earlier.
Nice.
At the end of that following weekend, I have a dance event called Step Your Game Up NYC. We have a one-on-one battle in multiple different, dance genres. And then the weekend after that, we have a festival called Street Style Lab, where I have international teachers coming in and teaching. And also, starting this coming week, we have an event called Ladies of Hip Hop, where it's all about the ladies. And it's from
Wow.
that perspective. And again, we have performances, battles. It's all about the ladies. Fellas, show your support. Without the ladies, you don't fucking exist.
No
Mhm.
doubt.
And so we
100.
basically use this whole month of July to lock down New York City and show these people what culture, is about. Because we have the funniest thing is we started these things for the people here,
Mm-hmm.
but now it's become an
It's global.
international thing,
Mhm.
and everybody wants to come here, and so that was the basis of it, bringing people here. It was as Prance said earlier, you got your man in Japan and your man on Church Avenue. You want to bring them together. That was the whole idea behind this.
Sure,
The only
yeah.
problem
Great
now
idea.
is our folks that was on Church Avenue don't be showing up, but it's all good.
Yeah, no
They
doubt.
missing out.
So,
That's it.
so where they can find you online?
I'm online. I'm on Facebook.com/BuddhaStretch or BuddhaStretch Hip Hop. I'm on Instagram, BuddhaStretch. My website, www.eliteforcecrew.com, with my partner in crime, my best friend in life, Link, my
Yes,
partner
sir.
Khalif, my crew, Elite Force, Mob Top for Life. I do the social media thing, but I only do it but so much. I can't do Twitter and Snap and all that other. It's too much.
Wandie, where can he find you?
Damn. See, I hate when they ask me. Okay, please don't judge me on Twitter. I use Twitter for evil. I do. I'm gonna admit that right now. So it's my sarcasm. Okay, I'm a little mean, but anyway, it's me Wandie on IG and Twitter. Just don't judge me on Twitter. I'm just there for the jokes. That's it.
There's
That's
nothing
it.
wrong with that.
I have to tell people that because they'll get on Twitter like, they're like, yo, you're crazy. I'm like, but you know me in real life. Like, that's not me. That's just, that's,
You sure?
it's like, when you have your angel and your devil, the devil is tweeting. It's the devil. That's like, give me your phone. I've got a tweet. So it's me, Wandie, Wandie. Yeah.
CeeLo.
I don't have Facebook. No, we're not doing that.
Man. Well, you already know STELO 1009. And also we have that's Instagram, by the way. And also we have on Instagram, Been There Rock That. You already know. Once you type it in.
And we got Facebook too.
And thank you
Oh,
for
wow.
that. We also got Facebook as well. Been There Rock That. You can connect to us in all those avenues. DM us. Want to showcase, talk, build, ask questions, conversation with style. We ain't got
Sneaker Wednesdays.
We got the sneaker Wednesdays, question of the days. We're gonna be stepping up a lot of activity on the network, and we even take questions too. If anyone wants to share questions, ideas, build
And
with us on the
giveaways.
Instagram. And as Prance said, we got plenty of the ideas coming, giveaways, maybe some tickets, maybe some kicks. Maybe a little this, maybe a little that.
A lot of
It's
culture.
a surprise. It's a
The
surprise.
violin
So
is playing,
we're
boy.
definitely stepping up our game, and we're trying to give the public the